Well, unfortunately, it's my duty to say it's good. This particular video is going to be we're starting off a little bit sad this week. The adult industry is mourning the passing of adult filmmaker and actor Paul Thomas, who passed away at the age of 76. I've seen a lot of his films. Most people don't know that he worked on Broadway, Hair, and a couple of other Broadway shows that he's worked in his career. He built a filmography that is enormous for most people that have been in the business this long. He retired, I think it was about 2012 he retired from the industry itself. But we're going to read this off of AVN. But before we start on that, don't forget to comment, like, share, and hit that subscribe button. It's really important that you do. We really appreciate it. It moves us up in the algorithm. So, AVN Hall of Famer, filmmaker, and actor Paul Thomas passes away. Paul Thomas, the AVN Hall of Famer, filmmaker, and actor who widely regarded as one of the greatest adult movie directors of all time, has passed away. He was 76. He was simply known as PT in the industry circles. The native of, sorry if I mispronounced it, Wincata, Illinois, spent his entire adult life entertainment, whether he was on screen or on stage or behind the camera. He retired from adult in 2012, a few years after stepping away from directing for Vivid Entertainment Group, the iconic studio that he called home for nearly 25 years. Thomas became one of the most decorated filmmakers in X-rated history, while at Vivid, winning the AVN Award for Best Film or Best Director 12 times, a remarkable 5 of each alone in the 2000 era. Steve Hirsch, the co-founder and CEO of Vivid, tells AVN that PT was an integral part of the studio's track record of industry excellence. First of all, PT was a huge part of our early and even latter success. Hirsch said he was directed numerous movies for us and award-winning movies. PT always believed in the storyline. The storyline was most important. He was definitely not an all-sex movie director, and there was a time when that wasn't popular, but PT stood by it and think it paid off. Yeah, and that one thing about, before we go further, that's right. There were a lot of directors out there, because this is the mentality a lot of people think for the adult industry is like wham bam, thank you, ma'am. But there were a lot of poor men. This is why Pirates is one of the most successful adult films in the industry, because it had a story and it was very well done, well professionally done. On there, you could put it up with the standard movies up there. I mean, if you edit it down, which it has been edited down to an R rating, basically, you could stand it up against some, other films out there. It paid off for Vivid, and it also paid off with all the awards and nominations he got. He was also a big part of our early relationship with Playboy. He was the original contact there, and then we took over subsequently. And it's how we were able to move from shooting on video to shooting on film. And that was pretty rare back in those days. But again, it allowed PT to have a different look to his movies than anyone else. Hirsch continues, he believed very strongly in the power of acting and storytelling, and that was of the utmost importance to him, sometimes more important than even the sex. He was super talented and really easy to work with. He listened, and he was a real company guy. Thomas won the AVN Award for Best Director, filmed for a record 7 times, beginning with Justine in 94. Good one on that one. He also went on to win Top Film Directing Award for Bobby Sock in 97, Fade to Black in 2002, Heart of Darkness 2004, The Masseuse in 2005, The Devil and Miss Jones in 2006, and The Layout in 2008. In January 91, he received the Best Directing Award for Beauty and the Beast 2 for VCA Pictures, where he was under contract before joining Vivid. In 92, Thomas and Vivid were honored with the AVN Reuben Sturman Memorial Award for their loyalty in the adult industry, and in 2007, he was enshrined on the Hustler Hollywood Walk of Fame alongside other porn legends on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. Hirsch remarks he shot exclusively for us for many years, and he was a very competitive guy who put everything he had into the movies, not only from directing standpoint, but he oversaw all of the editing. He would spend hours upon in the editing bay, making sure his visions came through. And he loved winning the awards. We all did. And PT made that a reality. He was an extremely important part of our success and helped shape the early identity of the company. And the thing about it is, Vivid, most people, they look at some of the other companies, Brazzers and all that. Vivid was the top adult company to work with. You know, when I started back in the late 80s on there and I saw the early part of Vivid, I mean, they were going places at that point. I mean, the contracts we had, we were working with VCA at that time period, and Vivid was just about to launch out, and people were already talking about it back then, when it first launched. And we're talking about 84, and I was already in the industry. I started about 86, and everybody was talking about them. Even when I started, I mean, they were an amazing company at that point. Continuing on, Hirsch added, "I trust PT to do what he thought was the best proof in the pudding, with all the awards and accolades." Thomas, who made his adult industry debut when he was 24, racked up almost 900, that's, ladies and gentlemen, 900 performing credits and directing close to 400 adult films, according to the IAFD. He also helmed productions for Fantasy Home Video, Westerns Visual, Las Vegas Video, Metro Coast to Coast, New Sensations, Hustler, and more than a dozen other titles for Dorsell just prior to his retirement. He was performing from 1974 to 1986 before beginning his career as a director. Prior to the adult industry in the early 70s, Thomas appeared on the stage version of Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway, as well in a touring production playing all the male roles except Peter. In 1973, he was also cast as Peter for the film version of Jesus Christ Superstar. A year later, Thomas landed the role in the long-running musical Beach Blanket Babylon in San Francisco. AVN founder Paul Fishbane said PT built one of the kind legacies on and off screen. "I was really sorry that PT passed." Fishbane tells AVN he presents the end of an era. He was truly the last link to the golden age of adult films. Literally the last guy to shoot on film. When Vivid was producing all these big budget films, features on film, PT directed them and created some modern classics. Well, what I like about PT, what he was really looking at making adult films in the same way a director in the mainstream would. That means he gave us so much credence to the writing, acting, and sets that spoke to our mutual love of the movies. There's a lot more to this article. I would say go out and read the rest of it. I mean, his career spanned widely. We don't have people like this pretty much like it used to be in this industry. Like I said, I was there from the final cut of the production. In other words, the mass duplication end and editing end. And what we saw from companies like VCX and all the others, you'd see some, the basics. When you saw Vivid, you had quality. This company, you go into you still can, because they're still mass producing out there. But when they had a lot of these adult video stores that were just plainly just selling out DVDs, what was mostly up there was like Vivid was up on top all the time. And they did a lot of productions out there. And they did compilation videos. I mean, the time upon time. I mean, in my collection, I have about maybe 2 or 3 compilations of the Vivid line. And those were very well produced. And there's some clips that I've been looking for a long time because they were very well produced. And to see them again, I would like to see them again. And they're hard to find, but, eventually probably they will be brought out from that era. Because anything from about even from the mid '80s into the '90s. I mean, the mid '90s was their hurrah into their from my point of view, and the shape that Paul Thomas did to it was it was through the roof. I mean, you could call him the George Lucas, Steven Spielberg of the adult industry. There was so many people wanted him to work for them. Dorsell, Hustler Video, VCA, Vivid. They all wanted to work with Paul Thomas, one of the greats, and he was a Broadway actor as well. See, people don't understand that. They think that these people are doing, oh, they're just disgusting and stuff like that. They're actors, they're producers, they're editors, they're people in the business like everybody else. They're here to entertain. Yes, sex is involved, but it's still entertainment. And that's why people don't get into their head when they criticize the industry itself. Yeah, there's some stuff that's just like cringy and stuff like that. But hey, there's some cringy stuff in regular Hollywood movies too. Yeah, there is. Even in novels and stuff on there. And in music, in all entertainment has it's good, bad, and ugly. Always. That's what you need to understand. And Paul was an artist. He was a true artist. And that's why I say some of this adult porn is artistic. If you get a chance, go check out Pirates. I highly recommend it. And if you don't want to see the X-rated, you could probably find the one that's edited down, and you'll see the quality that they put into it. And like I said, this is one of the highest grossing #1 adult videos in history. But there were many others. You could lay down the line to that point. I mean, Paul put out sort of sequels to Debbie Does Dallas on there. Debbie Does Dallas 99 and East versus West to that point. I mean, he's also known for the all-girl Where the Boys Aren't on some of those as well. Those have been very popular in that era. That's going toward the 90s. One of the big ones that he did was it Sleeping Beauty Aroused? Was a popular one too. Romeo and Juliet Part 2. I mean, and hey, this one is in '88, and it had two of the biggest adult stars, and it was a popular. I mean, back when I was in the business, this one was selling off the shelf fast. Jamie Loves Jeff, which was like two of the biggest, Jamie Summers and Jeff Stryker. I mean, these were two big stars at the time. And the video itself, it exploded on all ends. I mean, we can go through a whole plethora of his films. I mean, take a moment, go IMDb him. I mean, you can see how much he's done in all these years. So, rest in peace, Paul Thomas, one of the greatest adult film directors, filmmakers in the industry on that. We will miss your talent on the screen. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in, and so long.